Hey everyone, what's up, Dog here, and we're going to be talking about some Raid Shadow Legends. Today we are going to talk about relics, all about relics. We're going to cover not everything on this list here, well, at least as far as anything under the B tier. I want to try and focus this a little bit more on new player experience and maybe relics that you want to look out for in case you end up getting them. But before we get all into that, make sure you check out the QR code or the link down below if you haven't downloaded the game yet. It will get you loaded up with resources and new characters, so you get a brand new character, or not a brand new character, you'll get a character right off the bat, right after you do the tutorial. Eleanoril, the legendary, she's been great for me. And then at level 15 you'll get Tagore, and level 30 you'll get Ugo. So all great characters to use for the end game. Even in the end game, I guess. Great for the beginning part of the game too, but just will carry you throughout the game. And yeah, make sure you check that out. If you've already downloaded Raid before on the device that you're planning on using that link or QR code, then you will have to use a different device. I use an emulator to play. I mean, I've used my iPad in the past, but since I was using my iPad, I have to use the emulator for this, so just a quick note on that. But let's get into the tier list here. So if you're not familiar with how tier lists work or the terminology, I'll just go over that real quick. So SS in this tier list, it means the best relics that can completely change the course of battle. A lot of tier lists that I personally make just start with S and then A, B, C, and so on. So this one uses SS. Either way, that's the top of the top relics that you want to look out for. S tier is very strong, which can significantly boost champion performance. So still a really great category, these top two here. A tier is strong relics, which make a noticeable difference to champion performance. And then B tier, decent relics, which are good filler options for champions. So that's why I'm going to stop here. C and D is even worse. So we are going to start with the SS tier here. And let's see here. So up first is the Wand of Submission. It's the best arena relic in the game. It reflects crowd control, has double whammy of both protecting your champions from control while also controlling the enemy. So super powerful relic there. Stormcaller, which is really cool, I think. Significant damage boost and huge amount of stuns. Best used on champions with multi-hit AoE attacks. So AoE, if you're not familiar, is area of effect. Basically it just hits either more than one target or everyone is what AoE refers to. So next up is Chrysalid of Rebirth. A massive speed stat plus an incredible effect. Best in slot for most revivers. So that's good to know here. It would be great for revivers, giving a bunch of speed. Speed is the name of the game, so that is going to be what the Chrysalid of Rebirth is all about. Torch of Thralladom is next, is a massive set of stat boosts for teams stacked with a single faction. So if you have a team of all the same faction, definitely want to apply that one. The Hallowed Hilt is the fervor buff, is a small but useful bonus, but it's a huge speed stat on this relic that makes it so strong. So not bad there. The Cat's Gaze, stacking ignore defense gives massive damage gains. The only downside is that going over 100% ignore defense has no benefit, so certain champions are better with other relics. It's also more limited for HP based damage dealers in arena due to its restrictions. So something to kind of a little bit more specialized there on that one. And then we have the Chrono Cube. Guaranteeing an extra turn is fight changing and enemies have no way of knowing it's coming. I'm assuming that's what this one is. Might have gotten a little bit of out of order here on the, at least on the graphic anyways, a little bit out of order. But there you have it. At least you have the names of those. So, going on to the S tier here. Arachna Elixir is extremely overpowered relic compared to other rares or most relics in general that adds a massive damage boost to poisons, further multiplied by the lethal dose blessing. So if you are following along with the team that I'm using with Kale and Eleanorel, they have poison abilities, so that would be super super good use of a combination of the relic plus their abilities. I believe that's this one right here. Probably makes the most sense anyway. And then the Death Dealer is right here, it looks like. Very punishing downside, balanced out by enabling you to build champions without crit rate %, but more importantly, avoiding weak hits for negative affinity matchups. So, a little bit more specialized. I mean, this one was a little specialized as well because of giving that extra bonuses for poisoning champions, but that one as well is a little bit specialized. So, Infernal Polytope. Looks like it's going to be that one here. Let's see. Very powerful effect, though you need several ranks to trigger it consistently. So, maybe not one if you come across it as an early player that might not be as useful for you, but definitely going to be useful later on. Volcardiac Heart is next up. The unique shield reflects damage and gives solid survivability boost. So that one, I think, will be great for wherever you are in the game. Early, late, mid, wherever you are. That one sounds like it's going to be a great relic there. The Mind of Marquat. I'm guessing that's this one here. The unique fatigue buff can add a lot of control against enemies, though manual play is important to prevent champions waking up sleeping enemies. Okay, so if you don't mind doing manual play, then that one's definitely going to be good for you, so keep an eye out for that one. The Erethi Coronet. Assuming that's this here. Let me see here. Let me double check. I'm not sure where that is. But anyway, the Erethi Coronet, if you come across it, gives tons of damage. That's easy to access. A top performing relic for long fights such as clan boss. Okay, so that's good to know. So if you have the relic here, then definitely want to use that on a champion that you're using against the clan boss. Let's see, the Collective is the next one. A huge damage boost, but it requires a ton of setup and the use of protected buffs. So a little bit more specialized, but if you can get it to work, it looks like it'll pay off for the big damage boost that it gives. So Gore Crescent, so somewhat the opposite of the Erethi Coronet. The Gore Crescent thrives in shorter fights against weaker enemies, such as arena or waves. Okay, so that's interesting. That's kind of nice that they have either one for longer fights or one for shorter fights. So keep an eye out for that one for shorter fights, the Gore Crescent. And the Essence Quencher is the last one here. It's a great generic damage boost. It's typically a top option for HP-based damage dealer. So good to know about that. Even if you use it on champions that aren't HP-based damage dealers, I think it'll still be good for you, but that would be the better use of it, the most efficient use of it, I guess. The Essence Quencher, is that what that was called again, just as a reminder. Alright, so for the A tier here, the Aspect of Sarath, which I believe is this one right here, can save you in the arena against champions such as Rotos or Garogrid, who are relying on landing that first initial kill. The turn meter loss is quite punishing, however, so you do get turn meter loss, but you get a benefit of, maybe you get some extra resistance, it looks like, from certain debuffs. The Murder Fang is next up. I believe is this one right here. One of the weakest mythical relics, but lots of gems. It doesn't it doesn't trigger off every skill. That's why it's in the A tier, but still a pretty good relic, even with its shortcomings. So now next up is the Eternal Soul Goal right here. I'm assuming it looks like lots of damage mitigation, particularly for shorter fights. So again, that'll be good for arena. That'll be good for other like short wave matches and stuff like that. So that one, keep in mind for that one. Let's see, Eternal Soul Goal. Oh, eternal, not internal. Eternal Soul Goal. Let's see, it has a consistent amount of bonus turn meter for niche champions who rarely attack. Okay, alright, that's pretty good. That's good to know. So if you have a slow champion, put this one on. I'll speed them up, get them to attack more. Alright, so next is going to be Temporal Stagnator. Not sure. Maybe this one? Amazing on champions like Crixia and Fabian, but not many others. So if you're using those champions, then definitely want to put that one on there. If not, then probably best to just avoid it. I think it barely just made this A tier list by the looks of it, so. The Perched Shadow is next up. It has a low chance to trigger, but the effect is incredibly strong and delivered when you need it most. So that's kind of a cool one where it sounds like you have... It's kind of like a RNG dependent relic, but when it happens, it's amazing. When it doesn't happen, it's like, oh man, that kind of sucks. But so that's interesting. I'm definitely want to keep my eye out for that one. I like when you have RNG chances that can really pay off for you or not at all. It just makes it that much more fun. So alright, so next one up is a Molten Death Bell. This is a true ringer, if you get my drift. Probably the true ringer there for that one, for that relic. That's probably what it is here. What's so special about this one? Well, it controls champions. It thrives off additional turn meter, and the accuracy stat is perfectly matched as well. So, looks like that's a pretty good one to use, especially if you want to try and control the turn meter. So, look out for the Burning Bell, Molten Death Bell. Alright, next up is the Journal of Necrotos, and I'm guessing that's what this one is here, because it looks like a journal, and it looks pretty necromancery. Necromancing? I don't know. Anyway, it gives a significant boost to 2 effects, which are ubiquitously useful. So, that sounds like another RNG one. That sounds like right up my alley, so I will definitely be looking out for that one, because these A tier ones will be a little bit easier to come by than some of the other ones that I covered. So, and the Inferno, that's a mouthful. Inferno Sphere looks like it's going to be this one right here. The only accessible res boosting relic for high res builds. So, reviving champions that can revive gives a boost for those kind of champions. So. Overall, A tier isn't so bad. Like, there's a couple of them that were a little niche, but they're not quite powerful enough to make it up in this S tier, but A tier is still pretty good. Alright, so last category here is the B tier that we're going to talk about. And the first one up is the Hand of Uncreation. Has very strong effects, held back by low chances to activate. You can't go into a fight relying on this to work. So, another one of those RNG relics. Looks like even lesser of a chance for it to go pop off or go off, but might be something that I personally would be interested in, because I just love that unknown factor. Alright, so the next one is going to be the Orb of Transfixion, which it looks like is this one right here. Has a useful effect held back by a low chance to activate. Okay, so again, that's probably why it's in the B tier. It's because it's a low chance to activate. But, how something to consider, at least for me anyway. Preserved Arboration is next up. That's going to be right here. Currently overshadowed by the Arachna Elixir, which we talked about up in the S tier, I believe it was. This one, yeah, S tier, right up here. Okay, so it's overshadowed by that, but it's a good damage boost on its own for the niche champions who can use it. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. The Golden Elixir, a decent heal when you need it. The Golden Elixir, let's see, which one is that one? That one is not on, is not shown here, but it looks like a golden potion bottle, basically. A decent heal when you need it. It's great for early game players struggling to keep champions alive. So that one's, yeah, that one's definitely one you want to look out for when you are getting your relics. The Gilded Dragonstone, probably this one here, maybe? Decent survivability increase, plus it gives boosted damage for defense-based damage dealers. So, definitely a good one to have early on, if you can get it. Volcanon's Grasp. I'm not sure if that's shown here, but it's a sneaky option for Arena, where reflected damage can bypass passives and secure surprise kills. So, yeah, that's definitely a good one for early on in the game. The next up is Tempest Sanguinis. Maybe this one or this one, maybe, based on the name. It gives a strong increase for turn meter reduction, very nice against early bosses like Spider or Fire Knight, and also good for Faction War. So this one, in this case, wouldn't necessarily be a good one just for the early game. It could be good for end game as well. Next one up, we've got two more here. The Scroll of the Unseen, I'm guessing that's this one here, can be strong against damage, can give a strong damage boost, my apologies, in properly speed-tuned teams. Wow, that's a mouthful. Let me start that over. Can be a very strong damage boost in properly speed-tuned teams. But most players should opt for higher tier damage relics, which are often stronger and easier to use, or in both. Could be both. So, yeah, sounds like a good one to use early on again, but maybe not towards the end game when you get better relics. And the Malefic Talon is the last one. I don't think that one's on here as either, but it's basically a generic damage dealer stat stick. It's a great filler option, but nothing special. So, wow, that was quite the list. We still have others on this list, but definitely not worth using. So, definitely appreciate you watching. Make sure you check out the QR code or the download link down below if you haven't downloaded already. And until next time, spend those resources wisely and equip those relics wisely, and we will see you in the next one.